This was insane to witness as the Toronto Maple Leafs beat the New York Islanders in the final game of 2024 in a pretty convincing win to a degree. It was definitely an afternoon game, but we're going to break it all down in this live stream. Right off the bat, I'm going to address it. Nick is not here today, so wish him a happy new year. He'll be back in a video tomorrow. And of course, happy early new year to everybody in the chat. What's going on? See some familiar faces. Shane, Jim, Jose, what's up everybody? Eric, nice to see everybody here. Weird afternoon game again. Don't mind the afternoon games, just don't like them on weekdays. I don't know what that's all about, but something new for the Leafs. I thought it's interesting. It's interesting. I also like how before the game, they also honored all the Leafs who had passed away this year. I thought that was really cool, and they had all their families there or family members of those players. So that was definitely something new. I don't remember the Leafs ever doing that, and I thought that was something pretty cool and special before the game. So just wanted to mention that as well. But great game for the Toronto Maple Leafs. A lot of mistakes. We'll get to those as well. Woll kind of scared me in this game. I thought he was injured 2, maybe 3 times, but he battled through it. Had a pretty big game. He only allowed 1 goal, 2 if you want to count, that offside goal, whatever it was. But nice to see everybody here. What's up, Dan? What's everyone's thoughts on the game today? Again, I thought some pretty good performances from some players. I thought Joseph Woll played a pretty good game. Obviously, Chris Tanev, an absolute warrior. I don't know what that was that fell out of his mouth, but something fell out of his mouth when he took that shot off the face, but he's right back out there. I mean, I've noticed a huge difference in the Leafs block shots this year compared to last year, even previous years. It is making a big difference. McCabe today, Chris Tanev today. Joseph Woll has been great, but I think a lot of credit has to be given to the defense as well. And obviously, like somebody just mentioned it, I lost it here. I don't know where it was. Craig, Mario Lorentz. Shades of Mario Lemieux from Steven Lorentz. I'll play that now because I thought that this was absolutely electric. Nice chip from Ryan Reeves, and then nice little over the back deke there. And I love the passion here on the celebration. This is awesome for the fourth line. Like, they've been needing a goal, and everybody's been talking about Reeves and everything like that. This fourth line, man, like, I think Lorentz has potential here to squeak in a goal in the playoffs, like a really big goal, because he came up when they needed him today. Like, the rest of the guys weren't going. It was 2-1 until the end of the game, the empty netter from John Tavares. And he got it done. That was a great goal. That came out of nowhere. He's been playing his game, but that really came out of nowhere. And he has a little bit of that to his game. So I like that. But definitely a slow start to the game. Very sleepy. I agree with Jim. On both sides, Woll had a great game. Bit of a slow start, but it kind of picked up as the game went on. There were certain guys that didn't figure it out throughout the game, and honestly, I thought Mitch Marner, for the first time this season, had a game, maybe not the first time, but this one notably for me was a game where I was like, that wasn't ideal. A lot of missed passes, a lot of giveaways for the Leafs in general too throughout the game, but again, they're not used to playing afternoon games. Your whole routine gets messed up when, the Leafs play majority of their games at 7 o'clock, right? Besides the Western road trip every year. So I don't know about, I still think you're a professional athlete and you should probably be ready to go. But at the same time, it is a change in pace for them. But thought it was great. And yeah, Shane, great point. If Lorentz and Kempf are scoring 2 of your goals and the third goal on the night is an empty netter from John Tavares on the empty net, which, by the way, let me know in the chat if you've ever seen that before. I don't actually think I've ever seen a defensive zone face-off with the goalie pulled before, ever. Like, I cannot think of another time. So that was very interesting from Patrick Waugh and the Islanders. But in a game where those two score, great pass by Nylander for that first goal as well. Like, that was incredible. You can't lose a game where those two guys score. And especially how nice those goals were. Can't let that go to waste. But again, the Leafs only let in 1 goal. I thought this was great. If you lose this game, you're not feeling great, right? They would have fell to 1-4 in their last 5. That wouldn't have been great. You just lost to the Islanders 10 days ago. But they came back with the obviously the win here, and they looked very good. I thought they looked pretty good defensively, at least. Again, a lot of turnovers today. But last game, I think a lot of these guys were probably thinking about what they're doing tonight anyway. So I don't think a lot of their heads were probably in the game 100%. We'll just put it that way. But thank you, everyone. Again, the Toronto Maple Leafs. John Tavares continues his great season. Would have liked to see Nylander score again. He's in the rocket race, of course, but still a big game from a lot of guys. I really like Jake McCabe throwing the body around. I mean, he took down Anders Lee. He was pushing guys after the whistle. Love that. Max Pacioretty has proven to be a absolute difference maker. I have to give Nick credit where credit is due. He said it during the summer when they signed him, when there was rumors of the PTO coming down. He said, this guy has potential to be a difference maker. I was like, I don't know. He's coming off some pretty bad injuries and he's a little bit older. Man, he has adjusted his game and he is bringing something the Leafs desperately needed. And he's turning into a bit of a pest, honestly. He's throwing the body around. He's chirping the other bench. They were throwing it during the broadcast. You could see that, he was chirping the bench. Right there at the end, he trips. It was an obvious trip. I don't know what the Islanders were thinking. Obvious trip, but again, great game from Max Pacioretty. As Jim comes in with the $10 donation, Knies looking like he is regaining his pre-injury physical play and overall game. Lorentz will be a big factor in the playoffs. Camp, I am in the minority, but I am a fan of his quiet, responsible game. Now, Jim, I have been saying, it's a great point. I'll start with Camp because I have been saying that he does have use, but for his money, I feel like the Leafs could move off of him because there's a guy like Dewar that can come in and maybe do some of what he's doing and they can shore up the rest of the lineup. Although I do think Camp is very underrated in what he does, and I think a lot of other teams would like a player like that. In terms of Knies, scores a goal today, right? Got called back, but he actually got on the board, and it looks like he's responded well to what Craig Berube was talking about, right? Like he called him out after the last game and he said, ever since he was injured, he has not been giving us what we need. And it's true. He's been kind of sleepy the last little while since he's come back from injury, right? Since that hit against Vegas and maybe early November, I think at this point. It was early on in November. So he responded well. Again, the goal was called back, but making a difference in this game. He needed to cause a little bit of chaos, a little bit of havoc in front. He was doing some of that, chasing down pucks, throwing the body around. So I like the response from Matthew Knies. I think he'll be just fine, probably score in their next game, or he'll get back going, I think. But I think this is a little bit of a wake-up call that he needed, being called out by the coach, because he showed today he was great. So love that. And yeah, they play the Islanders. Their next game, actually, it's a home and home. They have a couple home and homes coming up. They have Boston in the middle of it as well. And I can't remember for the life of me who they're playing in a home and home next week. But again, there's another one next week. But the Islanders again, and then they wrap up against the Islanders. Weird schedule this year. They're playing a lot of teams very close to each other. Like they wrap up Washington soon as well. So weird schedule this year. But thank you, Jim, again for your donation. Absolutely incredible. Your support has been crazy all year. And Lorentz, going to be a big factor in the playoffs. That's why they signed him. It's a guy, to me, very comparable to a guy like Barclay Goodrow. Scores 3 goals or whatever it was over the course of 82 games last year. Scores 3 big goals in the conference final for them. So he looks like he's going to be that type for me. Like he's going to come up big when it really matters, and love that. Jim dropping again the 5 gifted members. Welcome in, everybody. New members. Jason, Jonathan, Rick, John, and Steve, welcome in. Say thank you to Jim. Gifting out, Christmas is past, but Jim still with the gifts leading up to New Year's here. Thank you, Jim. Again, your support has been unbelievable. But from Jay, not a big fan of Berube's power play unit, Pacioretty, Domi, and Timmins, although that is the second unit. And I'm not a big fan of the power play 1 unit. I will say that. I think they got to maybe switch that around. And also, Nylander and Riley, maybe don't pass when somebody's lying right in front of you, right? Like it's probably going to get deflected if there's a guy standing right in front of you. They need more shots to the net. The type of style that Berube's trying to get them to play, you got to get pucks, traffic, crash the net, and it will pay off in the playoffs. I absolutely believe that. There was a couple goals last year that Nylander scored that was exactly that. So need to get back to that game. There was a couple plays like that early in the first period where they're just throwing pucks on net. There's a little bit of chaos. I was like, man, if they continue to do this, they'll find success, right? It doesn't always have to be the pretty plays. Those will come because they're skilled players. Those will come. But sometimes you just got to make put the puck to an area, go get it, make your own luck happen for you. Even the first goal, exactly that. I mean, Nylander, he has no play, shoots it off the pads, right? Tanev puts the puck to an area behind the net, right? There's no play there, just put the puck to an area. Obviously, Nylander gets back on it. They score that goal. So it was, I liked a lot of what I saw today, although it was a little bit sloppy, but that's fine. Both teams were. They'll get a pass for this one. But a couple guys were really good today. Even Bobby McMahon. I mean, he was, Bobby McMahon, excuse me. He was moving his feet as well. I thought that he's had a great showing so far this season, except for his start. So, yeah, I mean, he was he was, again, another great game. Are we, I'll throw it to the chat again. Are we worried? Because I'm certainly not at this point. I might be leaning more towards team, if you want to call it this, team LTIR for Matthews, if he's not ready to go soon, because they're playing well. They're playing well. Again, they squeezed out a little bit of a game here, but are we worried about Austin Matthews at this point? Should he be on LTIR? What is your thoughts? I want to get to that as well, but as I wait for those responses, I will say, like Gregory says, love Lorentz's attitude. I love everything about Lorentz. I am a huge Steven Lorentz fan. I'm so happy they signed him. A lot of people are upset that he's not scoring more or putting more points up on the board. It's times like these that he's going to do this, where he, gets you a 2-1 goal. You end up winning the game 2-1, 3-1. In the playoffs, he's going to come up big. This is what he was brought in for. He's not going to score every game. He's not going to score 20 goals, right? That's his use. That is why he's there, I believe. So, OEL was out today with the flu, so hopefully he'll be back. We'll see how he's doing Thursday. I'm sure we'll have an update for you before that game as well. We'll have videos throughout, obviously tomorrow and Thursday. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, the empty net with a face-off in the own end, I've never seen it. It might have happened before. I cannot remember it. I've never seen that before. If you win that face-off, which you're probably not because it's John Tavares, right? So if you win that face-off, maybe there's something there that you can maybe make a play there. I could see the vision for Patrick Waugh, but that did not work out well at all. That was horrible. But I'm only worried if he requires surgery and they are delaying it. Now, if he requires surgery, I think at this point with him going to Germany, I feel like it is, to me at least, he probably doesn't need surgery. And by all accounts, we heard from Nick Kyprios and a couple others, there's no structural damage with whatever he's dealing with. I think it's something with his back. I mean, it has to be, right? Or maybe it's a rib or something like that. But I think it's probably his back. And because I believe a couple of years ago he was dealing with that and also the wrist thing. I don't think it's his wrist. I do think it's his back. But again, speculation. Don't take my word for it. I don't actually know for sure. But I would be worried if he requires surgery, 100%, and if they're delaying it. I think that would be brutal. If we were to find out in a month that Matthews actually has to get surgery, I mean, heads have to roll for that. That would be absurd. So I don't think that's the case. I think they're just letting him rest. But at the same time, if something like that flared up off of a cross check like that, maybe give him some extra time. Just say, you know what? We're playing well. We're battling for first. We could use you, but we're playing well. Take the rest of the season off. We'll see you in the playoffs. We're going to use that $13 million to go out and make the team unbelievable, right? Like, we're going to shore up the center position. We're going to get another defenseman because we're not sure about Hawk and Paw, right? There's a lot you could do there. So that's interesting. Jim as well says, not worried. Let him rest as long as he's required for him to be close to 100% for the remainder of the season and, more importantly, the playoffs. 100%. I honestly think they should be thinking about, or at least having conversations about LTIR, honestly, at this point, because so many question marks, right? They ruled him out last weekend 100%. Then they ruled him out yesterday or the day before, right? Like, is he going to play Thursday? That's another question mark that's going to come up tomorrow evening on Thursday morning, right? He's probably not going to play Thursday. So as this continues and he continues to progress, he has to practice as well. This is something I've been saying in videos we've been doing. He has to get back to practicing, right? With the team, full practice, contact, stuff like that. So he's still a ways away, I think, at this point again. And imagine he plays a couple more games and it flares back up, right? So give him some time off. Maybe it's time to think about LTIR. They did that with Kucherov, the Tampa Bay Lightning. He was ready to go. Like, make no mistake about it. He was probably ready to go in February that year, right? But they held him off until the playoffs. They used that available cap space and they won a Stanley Cup. So they used the rules to their advantage. So pretty interesting. Riley, thank you, Jay, for bringing this up. Actually, I want to get into this. But before I get into that, I do want to say Matthews better not be playing for USA in the Four Nations Cup. Listen, if he's healthy and he plays games for the Leafs before then, totally fine with it. Absolutely fine. But if he does not play for the Leafs and the first game he plays is for USA, I have a problem with that. I think that would be a bit ridiculous. And I think if the Maple Leafs have any type of say, they'll step in and say something about that as well. Like, if you're not healthy enough to play for us, you can't play in that tournament. We need you for the playoffs. So we'll see how that shapes up. We'll probably get an answer in the next couple of weeks, honestly, because it's coming quicker than we all believe. I wanted to touch on what Jay said. Riley possibly saved the game for the Leafs on a breakaway at the end. Brock Nelson's breakaway. He made an amazing play to throw his to throw the shot off. Riley with the back check was unbelievable there. That was great. Great save by Joseph Woll as well, but Riley disturbing him. Mitch Marner, like Evan Bouchard bailed out there. I didn't like that at all. Like the puck just went right past him. And I don't know if he thought Wall was going to come out and play it. That was a tight race. So didn't like that from Mitch Marner. Mitch Marner today, I know he's going to have off games. Not a great game for Mitch Marner today. I think he's got to be better on Thursday. There was a couple tough plays, but that's a great point. Riley and Woll again with a save. And Woll made another breakaway save on an offside call earlier in the game. So Woll was actually great. Shane says, I also believe it's his back. Explains why Riley went ballistic after the cross check. Exactly. Not only that, even if you're not hurt, don't cross check the best player. Don't cross check our captain. Like that's not going to fly on our team. I also love the response when Pacioretty got into it later in the game today. And I've been saying this for a long time, especially when it gets to playoffs, the Leafs never initiate. And I'm seeing this season that the Leafs are starting to initiate. I love it. I see McCabe doing it. I see Pacioretty doing it. You need to do that more. It's not just a response every time somebody hits your best player or your captain or the guy that's hot that night, right? It cannot only be that. Sometimes you have to initiate these things. I'm seeing it from guys like McCabe, Pacioretty. I love to see that. So that's one thing they've been lacking the last couple of years. So again, that could be a reason why, but at the same time, don't touch my captain. Don't touch the captain of my team. And thank you, Shane and Jim. Your support this year has been unbelievable, guys. Fourth line looking solid again. I have no problem with the fourth line. They do what they do. Energy line. Honestly, they look great today. There's certain games where they're not a difference maker, and then there's games like this every now and then where they're having the other team in their zone. They're doing their thing. They're throwing checks. They're playing with speed. Lorentz gets a crazy goal today. So there are games where, they have use, right? And obviously there's going to be some games where they don't make a difference. But that's fine. That's where the skill guys come up. And hopefully you win more games than not. And that's been happening for the Leafs. So pretty interesting. This team has the flu going through the room. OEL and Holmberg already have something. There is something going around. There's a lot of people sick as well around this time of year and in the Toronto area. So I don't doubt that it could maybe work its way through the team, but hopefully everybody stays healthy and they have a full lineup because they can't afford. We cannot go through something that they went through earlier in November. That was getting a little bit ridiculous. So the next game that are like this is against the Flyers. That's right, it's the Flyers, January 5th and 7th. Thank you, Jose. I forgot. I could not remember who it was. I'm also waiting on the impact score chart because I do want to see. I don't think we're going to get it. I will say that, but I was interested to see who the Leafs' best players were tonight. But I guess we can get into 3 stars at this point. Don't want to keep everyone too long. Obviously, it's the afternoon. It's New Year's Eve. Everyone's got stuff to do and places to be. But 3 stars tonight. I do have to think about mine, but I think that let's get it rolling in the chat. Who are you guys' 3 stars of the game? I think there was a couple good ones. Like I want to put Wall up there. This is a weird game, and I don't want to go based off the impact score chart because I feel like sometimes I'll look at that and it does match the game a little bit, the eye test, and I'm like, okay. But I do think today I'm gonna give it to. Oh yes, I will address that right after this, Jim. Thank you very much. But I do think I want to give it 3rd star to David Kampf. I thought he had a great game today. He shouldn't be on the second line, but he did a great job today. I'm going to give it to David Kampf. I think he was really, really good, putting in some good, work, putting in some good, I was going to say numbers, but time on ice, I should say, good minutes. And again, he's playing with really skilled players, and it's not easy to do. So he's fit in there pretty well for the time being. He won't be there. They're going to fix that. They're going to go out and make a trade, I think, at some point for a center. Austin Matthews will come back. He's my 3rd star of the night. My 2nd star, Lorentz. He had a lot of energy today. He was playing really well. Obviously, that beauty goal, I mean, that was unbelievable. Pulled it out of nowhere. I knew he could do that, but I didn't know he could do that at the NHL level. So he was fantastic today. Throwing hits. He's been doing it all season. So, once in a while, I love to see a guy like that get rewarded. And my number 1 star today, Joseph Woll. I thought he made some big saves. There's a couple saves that won't even count towards his stats on breakaways that were offside that he made. So I'm going to give it to number 1. I thought that Joseph Woll was definitely the 1st star. He was great today. So he deserves his flowers as the year ends because he's been great. He has been fantastic. I mean, Anthony Stolarz has been better, and I think if the playoffs started today and both goalies were healthy, obviously you got to give it to Stolarz. But as a second option and a tandem, like it kind of is looking like the Bruins thing that they had going on there with Allmark and Swayman. They're both fantastic. You can rely on both of them, so I think that's great. Hopefully he's not injured. Hopefully he's fine. But I do think at times especially in today's NHL, a lot of players, they feel something, they're not 100%, and maybe they might set out a game, right? So I feel like Woll could be dealing with a little bit of something like that, but I like to see him battle back and stay in the game. That was good. And obviously something wasn't feeling great, but hopefully he's not day-to-day, and hopefully he can play either Thursday, or we'll see. Maybe Hildeby gets to start because, of course, Matt Murray was sent back down, which is a whole another story as well. But definitely Joseph Woll, he had a great game as well. And Jim, I will address this. What's the plan for call-ins moving forward? So clearly the holiday season, we did it right before Christmas. We introduced it and we were, a lot of fun. Great call-ins so far. I mean, Eric called in. Shane was a great call-in. We had Blake Sim. I don't see Blake Sim here today, but we had Blake Sim call in. Some great call-ins so far. We were obviously experimenting with it the first day. It's been gone great so far. That was before Christmas. The last couple of weeks have been insane, right? Everyone, doing their thing for the holidays. So we will pick it up again for sure. We'll have it at the during every stream going forward after a game. Most likely with Nick and I. If there's any stream without one of us, it's tougher to do it. So as we get through the holidays here, it should be more consistent. We'll probably have them after every post game, and things are probably going to get back to normal here over the next couple of days, I think. So I would expect there's going to be call-ins. That's something we want to do more often and get you guys involved. And it's been great so far, honestly. Like, some of the call-ins have been great. Shane with some great insight last episode too. So we will get back to that over the next couple of days for sure. But yeah, again, I think Woll was great. Not a great game for anyone really. But any final thoughts before we wrap up here? Again, New Year's Eve. Don't want to keep everyone too long. This was fun. An interesting afternoon game. And I did mention it off the top. The Leafs did honor some previous Leafs that unfortunately passed away this year. I thought that was really cool. I don't know if that was Brendan Shanahan's doing. I've been critical of him, but if that's something that he brought to the table, I thought that was something that's probably long overdue, something that not a lot of other teams do. And if they want to do that at the end of every year, I think that's brilliant. Bringing in their families as well to, take in a game. I thought that was really great. I thought that was brilliant. So thank you, Jim. Jose, we'll have them going forward. And before we wrap up here, Canada, USA, tonight at 8 o'clock, the New Year's Eve Classic. They're in the same group again this year. Who do we got? Let's get some predictions in the chat. Obviously, a couple Leafs prospects in this tournament that are playing well. Easton Cowan picking up some points here and there. Canada losing to Latvia was not great, obviously. But, and thank you, Jim, so much. Take care. Happy New Year. But let's get some predictions going before we wrap up here. I'm going to take Canada tonight. I think tonight is finally going to be the night where they come together and they break through. I think they've been overthinking things, and I think there's a lot of pressure, and I hate how much pressure is put on these guys every year because this tournament is a huge deal here in Canada. So there's a lot of pressure on them, and I think they put a lot of pressure on themselves to beat teams like Germany and Latvia because there's a certain expectation to beat them by 12 or 15 goals. But no, these countries are getting better. They have a lot of great young talent, but I think tonight is the night that they break through. They get a couple goals, and they play their game. So I'm going to take Canada. I think USA is a great team. Could go either way, and there's high stakes. It's going to be a physical game. It's going to be a really, really great game because the winner of this wins the group, and that has serious implications going into obviously the knockout round. So I'm going to take Canada 4-2, 4-3. I'll say 4-3 final prediction. It's going to be Canada 4-3. I'm expecting another huge game for Carter George there, and we'll see how things play out from there, because obviously they're going to have to win a couple knockout stages. But I think McKenna, a couple of these guys are waiting to break out. I am also interested to see if projected number 1 overall pick Porter Martone will be back in the lineup, because the way coaches are. He was scratched last game. They ended up winning. I wonder if he sees the ice again. So should be interesting. I think Canada's going to take it. Hopefully Easton Cowan has a great game. And Leafs fan and anyone else, if you want to reach out to us, we do have an Instagram at Leafs Digest. So if you ever want to message us about anything, you can find us there on Instagram, Leafs Digest, or there might be a message option on the channel here. If you do that, we'll see it as well, but we'll definitely respond on Instagram. But I think we'll wrap it up there. I'm taking Canada tonight. Go enjoy the game, everybody. Everybody have a great New Year's. We will see you in 2025. Thank you so much, everybody, for your support this year. It's been unbelievable. And Nick and I will see you in the new year, 2025, and hopefully the Leafs start off the end of this year with a win. Hopefully they start off next year with a win against the same team, ironically. That'd be great, but we will see you in the new year. Go Canada, go Leafs. We'll see you then. Take care, everyone.
Digest your daily dose of gold. Stories of the bold where legends are told. From first pop drop to the season's full. Tune in and watch the drop.